I'm Alex. I'm with Cloze. Thanks for joining our EXP CRM of Choice session. I'm going to start off with some slides, and I'm going to give you a live demo, give you a full tour of everything Cloze can do for your business. As a reminder, you can put your questions in YouTube chat and in EXP World, and my colleagues are there to answer those questions as we go. So feel free to ask as many questions as you'd like. If you have any time at the end, we can hit any questions that don't get answered as we go here. If you're not familiar with Cloze, we're an AI-powered sales and marketing platform. We're the standard CRM for Sotheby's International Realty, Corcoran, Windermere, and other brands where sphere selling is the core of what their agents do. Their agents have built their business on repeat clients and referrals, and Cloze is at the heart of that effort. That's one of the key reasons we're part of the CRM of Choice program. Lofty and Bold Trail are great for businesses driven purely off of lead gen, and we're great for that too. But when it comes to sphere selling, nothing compares to Cloze. And I'm going to show you why. Before I do that, I want to go into some research that I think is pretty interesting. We all have databases, and that can be in a lot of forms, right? Could be another CRM we've tried. I know probably you've tried many CRMs over the years. Could be your Google contacts, your Outlook contacts, a spreadsheet you've just carefully kept in order over the years. All of these are forms of databases. Chances are we got data in a lot of places, actually. But one of the fascinating things we found is that 88% of the people that the average agent talks to never make it into one of those databases. They don't become a formal contact in your CRM or become a contact in your Google contacts or Outlook or your spreadsheet. And frankly, that's just because it's a lot of work. And these are people that we're interacting with all the time, right? We're embedded in the community. We're part of the fabric of that community. So we meet people at local events, volunteering, part of community events, on the sideline of a soccer game or a hockey game or baseball game, whatever it might be, all kinds of places where we interact and meet people. But those people rarely actually get in to our CRM tools. So if you've tried a CRM and haven't had a lot of success, but you rely on those repeat clients and referrals for your business, it's actually pretty hard if you're only getting 12% of the people in your database. The other 88% are missing. And that's where traditional CRMs really fall down. They're more like an empty filing cabinet, and you have to put everything in by hand, one contact at a time. You got to log your calls, your texts, your emails, set to-dos. That's just a lot of work. And so if we have to do all that work, to put a lot in just to get a little out. And that's why we tend to fail with the traditional CRM. And this is why Cloze is very unique. It discovers all of your connections, 100%, not just the 12% you manually created. What you're going to find when you get into Cloze is all of those people are there, all the people you interact with. We put them off to the side so we don't make it overwhelming. They're off to the side in a special area, but they're there. They're also there for you so our AI can surface them at the right moment. We find these electronic breadcrumbs, as we call them, about all of our relationships. And these could be people that are on mailing lists. It could be they're part of your, the hockey team your kid's on or baseball team, whatever it might be. It could be you're part of a chamber of commerce group, volunteer group. All these people that could buy and sell real estate because they're part of your community, they're on these lists and in these electronic forms. They just don't get captured in a very easy way. And so Cloze will pull those together for you. Cloze uses your full communication history all the way back in time to map out all of these relationships. So one of the things you're going to find when you onboard with Cloze is you can connect your email accounts. You can connect as many email accounts as you'd like. And we're going to go back in time as far as we can go and analyze that information. We pull all these people together and we build up profiles from their communication history for you automatically. So we do this by connecting a lot of data into Cloze, and this is what makes us very different. Connect as many email accounts you like. You can connect your Google account, and that'll include Gmail, your calendar, Google Drive, contacts, all that information. Same thing for Microsoft platforms. So if you got a Microsoft 365 account, connect that. So your Outlook email, your calendar, OneDrive, your contacts, all that information comes into Cloze. Really handy. My recommendation there is connect as many accounts you like, but connect the ones that matter to your business. So just because you have an iCloud account, if you don't use it, you don't need to connect it. But if you ever did business on that account, it can be very helpful because it can inform our AI. If you've ever attended any classes about AI or just read about AI, I'm sure there's been a lot of that over the last couple of years. One of the things that you know is that information is the key to all of artificial intelligence. The more information you have, the more accurate it can be. So Cloze uses this communication history to do all kinds of things on your behalf. And that's what little bit of its secret sauce is being able to do all of that. Okay. Another thing that makes Cloze very different is that you can connect your phone. So you can connect your iPhone or your Android phone to Cloze. What I mean by that is when you connect, we're going to automatically track your calls and your texts from your real phone number. So it's not a new phone line or anything like that. It's the exact same phone line you have. We're going to go back as far as we can on the device and pull in your calls and texts for you and track all that history for you. So what that means is you have a very clear picture of all your communications for every single person you know. All your calls, all your texts, all your emails, and all your meetings automatically organized. Very, very handy. Again, also allows us to do really interesting things on your behalf. Now, a key thing when we're talking about all this interactions here is a few things to know. One, you can connect lots of other apps and services. You can see a list here, and I'll go into them as we go further here. But some key ones like Canva, we'll talk more about that. I think you're going to love that integration. You can do all kinds of neat things with that. But also other platforms like ZenList, so your EXP Access, you can connect that to Cloze, SkySlope, Dotloop, lots and lots of different ones. BombBomb, super popular, Calendly, things like that. But when we're talking about all this information flowing through in an automatic way, a natural question is, well, what about privacy? We have a lot of privacy and data protections built into Cloze. We have those data protections built in because we operate, frankly, we use it ourselves. That's number one. We've used it from day one, and I don't want anybody seeing my text messages on my team either. So everything is walled off and in private, but we also operate outside the United States where there's much stricter data protection and privacy rules. So we follow these very strict guidelines and laws that exist throughout the world. You see some of that in California and Virginia and other places, but what it means is you can rest assured your data is very protected and for your eyes only. So no one at Cloze can see your content. Nobody at EXP can see it. Nobody on your team can see it. Even your assistant, unless you gave them your credentials, but even your assistant can't see it. We have explicit ways that you can give them access, but keep your private information private. So you could say, don't show my text messages, just let them help organize my contacts, things like that. So we have a lot of privacy controls built into Cloze. We'll talk more about that as we go. But the key thing to know is this is your information. Nobody else can see it. Our team's happy to answer any questions you have there, but we follow those strict guidelines. You'll see that in our privacy policy and things like that. In fact, if you do operate in a region where you have those stricter rules, we have lots of things built into Cloze to help you comply. So if you have an EU citizen client, you have to follow the EU guidelines, the GDPR, as it's called. Okay. Now, another way that we protect your data is because we've built Cloze differently. Each agent, when they sign up, has their own unique database. And what that means is it's all walled off. Nothing is commingled with other people. So that has a lot of advantages. One, it gives a lot of data protection and assurance that if you invest in this platform, you can get your data out if you ever need it to get it out because it's not commingled. It's very easy to do. In fact, you can unplug completely, take your entire Cloze account with you and bring it somewhere else if you wish to do so. I know nobody likes to talk about leaving EXP or leaving their team, but if you're going to invest, you want to know you can get your data. It's not our data, it's your data. Lots of protections there. In fact, if you decide Cloze is not for you, you can delete your account and all that data goes away. That's just the way it works. It's called the right to be forgotten. So portability is a core tenet to what we do. Privacy is obviously there. We get audited all the time by big companies and like Google, but also other brokerages and things like that. So know those protections are there. The last thing I'll say on this is that you can connect as much or as little as you want to Cloze. The more you connect, the more automation you have, the more our AI can do to help you. But if you want to ease into it, that's totally fine too. So connect your phone in your text messages later. That's cool. Do that later and then bring it in later. Super popular feature, but if you want to ease into it, that's okay. Another thing to note here is that we have fine-grained controls in there, as I call them. So you can say, don't track calls and texts with family and friends. So you can do things like that. Obviously, friends and family are part of our client base. They're part of our sphere. But if you want to do that, that's fine too. So you can do things like that to really dial in how you want it to work. Let's look at some real-world examples of how our AI can help you. We get tons and tons of email. So imagine getting a referral. A client of yours refers somebody over to you to work with you, and they say, give me a call Saturday morning. Great. Now, in this example, what Cloze has done is created a contact already behind the scenes for this person. and they've started to track all the history of communications with that person. So you'd have to create the contact. It's already done that. In this case, give me a call Saturday morning. Our AI picked up and said, oh, you need to do that. So it's going to give you a reminder on Saturday morning to make sure you take care of this, right? You don't want to miss it. It's easy to do. We get tons and tons of email. Easy to miss these things. It's also going to automatically grab the new contact information it found in the email signature. Traditional CRM, you would have had to create the contact, remember to do that, but you probably don't always do. Hence the research I just shared with you, the 88% that never make it in. Even if we're working with them, they tend to not make it in. Just kind of fascinating. AI will start catching things, and the AI automatically added their contact information. So you'd have to cut and paste the phone number and any other details it found. So really automating out all that traditional busy work. All you have to do is say, they're a warm buyer, hot seller, whatever it might be. One tap to do that, and you're good. Cloze will use that communication history by analyzing it as far back in time as we can go. It's going to look for communication patterns, who you communicate with on a frequent basis, who you know well. And it's going to start to surface those people automatically for you without you having to do anything. So if you get a touch, it's going to remind you automatically. It understands the patterns and how you communicate. So if you normally talk to somebody every 27 days and it goes beyond that, it's going to nudge you, hey, time to reach out. You can also fine tune this. And so we have other classes. In fact, the class we have coming up on Wednesday will go into more detail on how you can fine tune it to say, remind me every 2 weeks about my hot sellers, things like that. Remind me every week. You can dial it in. What's different about this, instead of just an arbitrary remind me every 2 weeks, Cloze is very accurate because it knows precisely, did you have a call, a text, an email, a meeting? So it knows exactly when you last communicated. What's also can be super helpful with these reminders is that it's going to mine all the way back in time. And so it will surface people that you may not have talked to in many years, but they tend to be clients. There's some real relationship gold in there. Those are people you interacted with closely and deeply for a period of time, and then the relationship faded. So there are people that you once knew really well, and then you haven't talked to in a long time. Those tend to be clients. And that's where the gold really comes in, because we re-engage with them. That's where we get the most stories. It's like, hey, I haven't talked to that person in a while. They were ready to buy or sell again. I don't know how you figured it out. Those kind of stories we love, and those tend to happen after these classes. Another one that we do here using your data is we will analyze all your different patterns to understand and set goals for you. Now, if you've ever used the Apple Health app, I'm sure many of you have, and you know the rings on there. Those rings are set not by you, but by the app. And what the app does is it studies how you move. So, or you take how many stairs you do, how many steps you do. Are you an elite athlete and running every single day, or are you sitting behind a desk? It kind of gets a feel for how you move, and it will set goals. So take a few more steps to meet your goal, a few more flights of stairs, whatever it might be, to hit your goal. But it's unique to every single person. We do the exact same thing inside of Cloze. Cloze will analyze your communication history back in time and understand how you interact with your sphere, how much you reach out to them, how much they react back to you, how many sides you get, what your GCI looks like. Sides and GCI will come in when you connect SkySlope or .loop, but it will understand all these patterns. So just like when the Apple app nudges you, hey, a few more things to get your rings closed today, Cloze is doing the exact same thing. Reach out to a few more people to stay on pace. These are weekly goals, not daily goals. And the reason we do that is, one, it takes a little pressure off, but it also understands when you tend to work. So it understands the day of the week you work. It also understands seasonality. Are you busier in the spring and fall versus the summer? There's these ebbs and flows in real estate. So it's not going to over nudge you when it's slow. So dive into the goal tracking. It's very, very helpful to help you stay on pace. You can adjust it as well. So if you want to set higher goals, you can do that too. We'll do simple things too, like remind you about purchase and sale anniversaries. Purchase and sale anniversaries can come in automatically from SkySlope and .loop. So if you connect either one of those, we're going to pull in contacts on your side, and we'll set those anniversary dates. You can also track birthdays, things like that, and we'll nudge you. All great ways to engage with your sphere. Stay close to your sphere on a regular basis, so you're top of mind. Now, as far as what's included, 3 core components to Cloze. We'll talk quite a bit about the CRM today, but we'll also dive into some of the marketing and lead management functionality. CRM, that's the anchor. It's where everything kind of hinges off. That's where your relationships are anchored. Lots of functionality in there for you. Marketing side, all kinds of automation. So you can build campaigns. You can use our designer to create beautiful marketing emails. We have a very extensive AI writing assistant. We call it Ghostwriter to write listing descriptions, newsletters, update your own bio. You can do all kinds of interesting things. I'll give you a little demo of that today too. The Canva integration, I think you're going to absolutely love. The neat thing about the Canva integration is that we're going to bring in your listings automatically into Cloze. So every listing you have, you'll see in Cloze. When those come in, you can then send them off to Canva to create marketing materials. So you can create a website, you can create a flyer, you can create your Facebook posts, whatever it might be, all with a single click. So instead of having to drag and drop and all that kind of stuff, it happens instantly. I'll give you a demo of that in a moment. And then when it comes to lead management, we can help organize and track and capture all the different lead sources you may have. So it doesn't matter what website provider you're using or what lead source you have, Cloze can bring that together. One of the tricky things about real estate is we tend to have a lot of different lead sources. They come from a lot of places. They go into our inbox, and it's hard to get that information out of our inbox into our CRM. So what Cloze will do is extract that information out of the CRM or out of the inbox and bring it right into Cloze automatically. From there, you can do a lot of things. You can route it to other members of your team. You can capture it or might catch it yourself. You can start drip campaigns, all kinds of things like that. The key thing is getting it in to make sure you get that consistent follow-up and so that no lead slips through the cracks. Okay. All right. I'm going to dive in, give you a demo. I'm going to start on my phone here. Let me bring that up. And then I'll go to the desktop. So I'm going to switch between the two. The key thing here is let me just bring this up here in a moment, is that everything you can do on your iPhone is exactly the same as on your computer. So there's no functional difference between the two platforms. They're exactly the same. In fact, we started on mobile and then we went to desktop. Waiting for it to come up here. Hopefully it does. Let's see if the sharing gods are going to work with us this morning. Maybe not. You know, it's live that way. All right. I'm going to do it this way. Okay. So here's Cloze on my iPhone. And I've got my agenda. And so you can see here, I'm going to just go through full agenda here, give you a full tour, and then I'll jump over to the desktop. Okay. So at the top there, you can see that goal tracking. It's beginning of the week. So you can see I've done a little bit of outreach, but it'll progress as we go. So I'm ahead of pace on my sides. Outreach, I've got 6 more to go today, 3 more reactions. So nudging me gently, pretty typical. It's the beginning of the day, so that's fine. Beginning of the week. But again, this is based on my real history of activity. So what's my outreach look like to my sphere? I'm going to scroll down and go to the keep in touch section. We'll start there and then we can dive in. So you can see I've got Gina, Jane, Jeannie, 6 total people that Cloze is recommending I reach out. And they all have different patterns. Again, based on my own patterns of communication with these people, but I can fine tune it. So let's look at Gina here. So if I swipe, you can see there's different actions here. One of the reasons I like to start on my phone in the morning is that if I'm going to pick up and make a call, I can just do it right from here. So unlike a traditional note or CRM where you got to bounce around a lot, you can take action right inside of Cloze, and it's very easy to do. I just tap on that phone number and I can dial away. I'm on the phone with Gina. Really, really simple. If I swipe here and release, my mail brings up an email. So I can send an email if I'd like to do so. One of the nice things about Cloze is that we're connected to your real email. So when I send an email through Cloze, I'm sending it through my real email. So through my Gmail. Cloze is an email client, email app, just like if I was to send this through the Gmail app or Outlook or the app that comes with your phone, exact same thing with Cloze. When I send this email, I will see it in the sent folder outside of Cloze. No difference at all. The recipient's not going to know I sent it with Cloze. In fact, I use Cloze all day to send and receive email. So what you can see here is a standard built-in template for checking in. Hi, Gina. Haven't talked in a bit, so I thought I'd reach out. Email signature below. You can set that up. Our team's happy to help you. Reach out to our support team. There's also some standard versions that we've put in the library for you to take advantage of that we've worked on with your marketing team. But you can put anything you want in there. We have a little builder you can use as well. This is a pretty standard template for us. You can send this off to Gina as is, or here's a good opportunity to use our ghostwriter. So lower right corner, you're going to see a light bulb. If I tap on that light bulb, it'll give me a chance to rewrite the email. So let's tap on authenticity, and it's going to just do a quick tweak. So it changed it up a little bit. Now I'm going to tap on it again and have it write a new subject. There it is. Checking in. How have you been, Gina? I could do it again. You can see it'll crank through and it'll just give you another example. So the nice thing about using these tools is that you don't have to rewrite things. You don't have to think about it. It just does it for you as you go. Okay. So it's really handy way of authoring things. You could also write completely new content as well. Okay. There you go. Okay. So upper right corner, there's a drop down there. If I click on that, you'll see several other options that you can take advantage of. So we wrap a lot of things here that can be very helpful. So you can schedule it. So maybe I want it to go out the next day. So I can say tomorrow morning. You can set the time, whatever time you'd like, easy to do. This can be helpful if you're doing email late at night and you just want it to go out the next day. Set a follow-up reminder. I use this one myself all the time. So remind me next week. So the way this will work is you can see where it says, if no reply. So if Gina doesn't reply to me, I'll get a reminder. I think we've all sent emails and not had a reply, so it's really handy. And then one of the most popular features when it comes to email is our ability to tell you if the recipient has opened or clicked on any link. So you can see that tracking bell icon. As soon as Gina opens it, I'm going to get a notification that she opened it, or if she clicked on any link. So both very handy, kind of an addictive feature that as you start using it, you'll start to see those opens. So I encourage you to do that, and you'll start to see how helpful that can be. You'll get like a flurry of opens and you know that they're reading it. So people really get excited about that feature. Okay. So the key thing to know here is lots of things wrapped around it. Take advantage of the ghostwriter to help you write things. Now, here's an example, one of those opens. So you can see below a couple of that were sent out earlier. Got some notifications on them. So as I was just working through my agenda here, got those notifications. You'll just see them pop up. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see how many times they opened it. Sometimes you'll see where they opened it. So in Gmail, it can be handy. Only you can see that. As you go down a little further, you're going to see meetings from your calendar. So those will come in. Any meetings you have in your calendar, they're there for you. You can swipe to reconfirm, which is handy. We'll include the time automatically. So we're just kind of helping you along the way. Some light best practices, coaching, just helps you stay on top of things. It's always helpful to reconfirm a meeting. We only put the reconfirm in there if you haven't talked to somebody in a while. At the bottom, you're going to see all your finished meetings and calls. So as your day unfolds, you'll start to see all those build up as you go. Then you can do things like add notes. Simply add the notes. Clear them when you're done if you'd like. Same thing with calls. Add notes. I'm going to go back up to the top here. Here's some important dates that came in that are due today. So I've got a purchase anniversary, got some real estate reviews, and I got a birthday. You can automate this in several different ways. So again, if you connect your SkySlope account or your .loop account, we're going to bring in those anniversary dates for you automatically. And then just like before, you can swipe either call or email. You'll see a different template when it comes, if you've got a purchase anniversary, then a birthday. Again, those built-in templates. So a birthday looks like this, easy to do. What we're doing here is just automating it to the point to remind you. So you'll see on the morning agenda, on the daily agenda, you'll see that there. And then you can send it out in a personalized way. A lot of agents like to do that because it gives them a one-on-one interaction. You can also automatically have it go out and just go out on its own. So it's a one-click thing you can turn on. It just automates. And then when the birthday or the purchase anniversary arrives, it just sends out the email. A lot of people like to text and call and do other things. So it's the nudge that's really important to the agent, and that's why they engage there. Largely, the way to think about the agenda here is it's helping you stay engaged with your entire sphere, but it's keeping you focused on the key things that will make a difference. So you're trying to stay in live flow in a one-on-one way. So a lot of scale from an authenticity perspective, but it can run alongside your more automated traditional drip campaigns. Okay, so you may have market updates or other tools you're using like Zenlist, keep people aware of what's happening in the market. Your website may have tools for that kind of stuff. This is more about the one-to-one relationships and helping you stay close. So if you've done any coaching programs, this will be very much in line with that. So you can automate those if you wish to do so. Easy to do. Okay, a couple more things here. Here's an important message that Cloze flagged. So this email came in earlier. You can see here, I'm going to get a reminder at 6 p.m. So let's have a look at that. So somewhere in here, Dave here is asking for me to do something by 6 p.m. tonight. So there it is. Please send me anything that fits the bill this evening. So Dave reached out around 7 a.m., said, hey, I need something. Can you get it to me this evening? Well, Cloze caught that, understood what was being asked, and now is going to remind me at 6 p.m. this evening. So this can be really handy. You're out with your clients all day. You're not paying attention to your inbox as much as we want to because you're busy. Well, Cloze is keeping an eye on it, and then we'll remind you. So when you get back, you'll see it. You'll get a push notification as well. Now, the last thing here on the agenda is new leads. So one of the things Cloze will do for you is it will grab leads out of your inbox, and it can do all kinds of things. You can grab the lead, and then you can tap accept, as you can see here, and it will create the contact. Or you can go much more automated. It will auto accept and create a drip campaign, follow up on your behalf, do all kinds of things. So I just wanted to give you a simple example here, but just know that you can do a lot with our lead capabilities. So in this example, fictional service, email came in earlier, landed in my inbox. Cloze notified me immediately that I received this email. The goal is to be as fast as possible. And then I can tap accept, it'll create the contact, and I can be on the phone or follow up with an email. If you want to fully automate this, it could auto accept it, even fire back an email, start a campaign to try to engage the lead, get them to book an appointment with you. That can all happen automatically. If you're part of a team, it can go even further, and it could route the lead to somebody else, do round robin or first to claim, whatever you want to do, but it can do quite a bit. So you've got this full set of functionality all included as part of the package here. So that's another thing you can do. So regardless of where that website lead comes from, whatever service you're using, we can get it into Cloze. Okay. All right, let's go a little further and look at a contact here. So here's a contact. I got Gina here, pretty typical profile. I'm going to start off with a timeline. I've got text messages, calls, emails, to-dos, all kinds of things that are here. This timeline is going to be comprised of all your communications and other details like notes, or it could be updates from other apps you're using. So if you're using Zenlist, for example, you'd see your Zenlist activity in this timeline. All this activity gets pulled together as far back in time as Cloze can go. It can be very, very helpful. You can expand so you can see the details. You can even reply right in here if you need to, but all the details are here. So you can see a lot of variety of activity. So if you want to know exactly what's going on with a contact, Cloze has pulled it together for you automatically. Now, if I tap on notes, this will show me all my notes I have with Gina. So you can see I got a couple of notes. Same thing as before. I can expand them to see my notes. If I tap on files, this will pull together attachments from email, which we've all hunted for emails that with certain attachments. This gives you a quick consolidated view, but it will also pull in files from other places like Google Drive, DocuSign. You can see here both of those, Dropbox, OneDrive, Dotloop, lots of places files can come in. Instead of uploading documents to Cloze, we use the places you already are storing your files about your clients. So you can see here, Gina Harris is her name. I have a folder called Gina Harris. Anything I put in there is going to automatically link. In fact, with Google, all I have to do is mention Gina Harris's name and it's going to be linked automatically. So a very handy way of doing that. And these are like shortcuts. We don't actually bring the files into Cloze. You can just view it right from here. Important dates. These are things like purchase anniversary, wedding, birthday, real estate reviews, anything I got a reminder on. It could be a manually set reminder, keep in touch reminder. You'll see them all there. Tap on About, and this is going to include a variety of information. So right at the top, you can see here the relationship section. This section, we have another class on. We'll coming up next week that we'll go in more detail on this, but quick background on this section. This section is designed to show you exactly where you are on the journey with this client. So top there, warm, hot, in contract, closed, and lost. Those are what we call stages. So Gina has progressed from being warm to hot. And then right below, you can see she's a buyer. If I tap on buyer, you can see lots of other options there. We call those segments. So this is the journey with the person. And people tend to be on progression, right? They come in, they're warm, trying to figure out if they're ready to transact. If they are ready to transact in the next 60 to 90 days, call them hot, and then you can see how they progress. And they can be on that cycle quite a bit. If you go down a little further, contact, at a glance, these are all sections that I can expand. So I'm going to tap on contact info and you can see the contact information I have for Gina. At a glance, these are kind of like quick notes that I might want to bring up so can help sharpen the conversation just so I remember exactly what I'm talking about. So some background details in case I forget. Details section. This includes a variety of different things. I'm a sphere-based agent, so I get my business by working my sphere. So this came in as a referral. So Monty referred Gina. So I linked him. If I click on Monty, it brings me over to his profile. So it's handy to keep track of who referred who. Other details here, spouse and children also linked. So if I click on Max, her spouse, that brings me over to his profile. People putting kids too, generally it's either their older kids and they're going to try to work with them in the future, or they like birthday reminders, so that can be helpful to put a card in the mail, that kind of thing. Lead source is always helpful. And then important dates there, birthday, wedding, real estate review. Again, these are those recurring dates that Cloze will remind you every year about. If you connect Dotloop or SkySlope, as I mentioned, we'll populate those for you automatically. Okay, so quick tour there of all the key things. Along the bottom, you're going to see the typical stuff. You can take notes. Very easy kind of thing to do. Dial them up, all that kind of stuff. Calls, emails, all the thing you'd expect to do. Okay. So if I go through the options on the bottom, you can see I've got my inbox, my people section. These are all the people I know. My properties. This is where your listings are going to come in automatically. So everything is right here. I can do all the exact same things that I want to do on the desktop. Okay. All right. I'm going to switch back over and we'll take a look at the desktop now. So this version is exactly the same as what I just showed you on my phone. The only difference is we have a little more extra space off to the side here that we're taking advantage of. So same goal tracking, same important dates. There's Gina and the others that are reaching out to. But notice these rollovers. So instead of swiping, which you can do if you wanted to, just click and swipe, but you can also use these rollovers. So if I want to email or call, I can just tap on any of these. When you see the arrow, that means there's a built-in template you can take advantage of. And I just did that. Okay. Ghostwriter, lower right corner. So if I wanted to write a subject, I can do that. It just wrote me a new one. Top right, here's all those different options. Again, that goal tracking is the very popular feature I mentioned earlier. Another nice thing you can do with Cloze is we have a built-in template library. That's what this icon is here. So anytime you find yourself sending the same email over and over again, you can save it as a template. Simply tap on create, and it will save it for future use. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go over to the people section. Close this out here. Now, another example of when you're on desktop or on the iPad is you have a little more space for these kind of views. So you can see here, I'm in a table view. If you click here, you're going to see some other popular ones like Kanban board. These are nice because you can drag things into other columns very easily, easy to do, that kind of stuff. So it makes it very easy to move stuff between columns. Table view I like because it's compact, easy. I can see a lot of information at once. I can customize the columns. So you can see I've got some other ones to the right. If I tap on columns, I can add others. Any of the other categories here are all available to me. So that's also handy. And then as you dive into Cloze and you start to take some of our other classes, one area I really encourage you to dig into is our different sorting options. If you click on sort, you're going to see that we have many unique ones. We have, of course, alphabetical, which is common in all platforms, but also not that helpful. With Cloze, you'll see our default here is best relationship. So who do you know best? So the most important people, the people you know best, are going to be at the top. But then we also use all that communication history to inform other sorts. So who are the people you just met? Or when was the last time you interacted? Or they last engaged with you? And then a whole bunch of other ones created. When was the contact created? Or new and untouched? Much smaller list for me. So these are all really helpful ones, or contacts to classify, or ones our AI is recommending you classify. So what you'll find with Cloze, you're going to find a lot of unique sorting options that take advantage of that communication history as you go through. Okay. If you click on My People, you can see here I've got what are called audiences. As you go, if you've got anything that you find yourself sorting to, creating any kind of view that is unique to your business, you can save that as an audience. If you've used other platforms, sometimes they're called smart lists. It's the exact same thing. So you basically set the criteria, and then as contacts meet that criteria, they show up in the audience. So it's a way of quickly getting to a saved search or a saved view. I mentioned earlier how we take contacts and put them off to the side. Cloze will discover that other 88%. That's what discovered people is. So if you select discovered people, you're going to see all the people Cloze has found. We keep them off to the side because it tends to be a lot of people. My people, what you're going to find in there, are all the people you have formally created. That's that 12% on average that we're talking about. So those are contacts that have come in from your Google account, your Outlook account, you've imported from a spreadsheet, whatever it might be. So that's what's in there. Okay. But as you go, start off with this core group, and then you can advance on to some of the other ones as you go. People from the discovered audience will show up on the agenda because we know they're important to you, and our AI is surfacing them automatically for you. I'm going to click on Gina here and go through a couple of things. So here's that timeline we were looking at earlier. Here's the relationship section and the journey. So warm, hot, in, contract, closed, and lost. That's the journey with her as a buyer. But we also have these things called tags. So I've got her on my foodie list. So she's into the food scene. She gets an annual gift, holiday card, and newsletter. So those are the tags I'm using for Gina. So tags are helpful to cut across a journey because eventually she'll be closed, and I still want to make sure she gets a holiday card. Okay. So you got multiple ways to kind of slice and dice your contacts as you go. But one of the reasons you're organized is to be able to do things with that organization. So let's look at a very practical example. I'm going to type in the hashtag symbol and then start typing in one of those tags. I'm going to select holiday card. So now my view is sorted by all the people with the holiday card tag. If I select them all, I just tapped on that check mark, I can then do lots of other things. Lower right corner, big check mark. These are all kinds of bulk actions I can do. I could send an email to all of them. I could log postal mail. Maybe I just put a card in the mail for 4th of July. I could change their stage and segment. I can export them. So I can do lots of different things once I've selected contacts, but the organization helps me be precise in how I do that. So let's look at a mail merge as an example. So I got 101 contacts here. And you can see it's flipping through their names as it goes. Hi, Dana. Hi, David. Gina. Different names, different people all flipping through. What that's signifying is that each person here is going to receive their own unique email when I push send. If I was to look in my Google account outside of Cloze, my Gmail account, I'd see 101 emails all go out. Pretty cool. So what we're allowing you to do here is scale up, reach out in a very authentic way, in a one-to-one way, to many people with one push of the button. They're not going to know you sent it to 101 people. They're not going to know that you're sending it to 100 other people. It's not a BCC or anything like that. Each person gets their own unique copy and they can't see the other person. So this is a good opportunity to use that ghostwriter to write something new. So you could say, you can pick one of the existing topics, or you can pick a different one. So you could put a custom topic in. So you could say, check in with a client to wish them happy summer and getting close enough. You can see some other options here. Authenticity is the tone, so authentic is the tone. And then other options, you can translate it to different languages. You can have additional context. That additional context could be about you, could be about your brokerage, be about your team, lots of other options there. But if you hit start writing, it's going to write out an email for me. So there it is, wishing you a happy summer. Hope you're enjoying the summer. Great, looks perfect. So I can insert that, and then I could reach out to all 101 people with this note. Really handy. And again, each person will get their own copy. Another thing you can do, upper right corner, you could schedule this. So you could say, have it go out tomorrow if you don't want it to go out right now. You can also add recipients. So remember, I showed you Gina and I showed her spouse. This is where that can be very handy. So if I click on spouse, I can say add to the to line. So now anybody who has a spouse linked is going to get it. So you just saw Ted and Elaine go by, Holly and John. Now, in those cases, they're both going to receive the same email. If you want to go a step further, you could even customize per recipient. That's a lot of work if you got 100 people, so you probably don't want to do it for everybody. But your top relationships, you'll see them organized first. That might be helpful. So here's Gina and Max. Remember, Max was the spouse. So this email is going to say, hi, Gina and Max. Really handy. Even more personal, because it's not Max getting one and Gina getting one. It's the two of them as a group getting it. So really handy. So again, all tools to help you reach out in a very authentic way in short order. Okay. All right. So that was just a quick email one for you to get a feel. Next, I want to dive into Canva. So as we work down these sections, so we went through the agenda, there's the inbox, people section, properties. This is where your listings are going to come in automatically from EXP. Okay. So those will just come in. You don't have to do anything special. We're just going to automatically do that for you. All right, I'm going to select 1044 West Hill, Bear Island. So imagine this was a listing of yours that came in automatically. It looks like a nice property. It's going to have the listing description. It's going to have all the details about that property. So there's the price point. Again, nice property, all the features, photography. So here's all the photos of the property. Those are all going to come in. And then the other details, beds, baths, bedrooms, all the typical stuff, square feet, all that right here. Now, this is what I think you'll be very excited about. You click on more options here. You're going to see an option, send to Canva. If I click on send to Canva, it's going to give me an option here. You can create content right from the actual listing here in Canva. You can pick a specific template, or we have packs of templates. So here's a set of EXP templates. I've got 9 templates that Cloze will create for me when I hit create. You can see I've got some flyers, a website, a bunch of social media options, all created automatically. So here's the property, and then there's fake me. That's not really me, but you get the idea. I'm going to hit create, and what it's going to do is it's going to spin away here for a second. And it's going to create all 9 designs over in Canva. So you're going to see it switch over to Canva in a second. When it switches over to Canva, all these pieces of content have been created for me automatically. So there you go. 9 unique pieces of content, all filled with that information. So I could have, a simple flyer, simple piece, just listed story carousel here. So it created that really simple. All good examples. Here's a website it created. All on the fly. And I didn't have to do anything. You can still edit it if you want to, but you can see all the pictures, my contact information, all that just came in. I don't have to do anything. You can even do these videos, which I think are, your team does an amazing job creating all these templates in Canva. But the nice thing about this is you don't have to drag and drop anything in like you do today. If I hit the play button, that whole Facebook video was created. So all you got to do is press the button and it's done. Really handy. So I think you're going to be really excited about this. The marketing team is in the final steps of approving the templates. So once those are approved, you'll be able to do this in your own account. So that's coming very soon. We will do a class dedicated just to this later this summer. Speaking of which, we have classes coming all the way through September. So lots and lots of different variety over time. The ones we're focused on right now are really ones to get you started, but you'll have more as we go. So I think you're really going to enjoy this Canva integration. When you go back over to Cloze, we have a library. Anything that you create and save in Canva will also be brought over. So we'll have that class. All the things I just created are all right here. And those can be added into templates you send from Cloze. So all that information is all right here. Anything you create with Canva will be organized automatically. The folders you have over there are here. So it really saves a lot of time. And you can drag and drop items in. So here's a template I already created. One of the nice things is I can drag in anything from Canva. So if I had a design I like, so here's just a random graphic, I can insert that in right from Canva. So I don't even have to export it. I can just bring it right in. So it can save you a ton of time. And I just added that right into my template. Okay. All right, so let's look at a example while we're in the marketing section here. So I want to go spend a little bit of time on marketing in general with Cloze. What you'll find in the library is that you can create these kind of pixel perfect style emails and things like that using our designer. Again, we'll have more classes on that. But you can also create things with our ghostwriter. So I mentioned ghostwriter, and you saw a little demo of just doing simple text, but you can go a lot further with ghostwriter. You can create entire newsletters and entire drip campaigns without needing to learn how to do any of that with our in a more traditional sense. You just let the ghostwriter do it. So let's try to do one together here. So I'm going to pick one of our, you can type in just like we did before, type in the short summary of what you want it to do. Or in this example, I'm just going to save some time here and just pick one. So I'm going to say educate home sellers on how to increase the value of their home to prepare for selling it. So that text, but again, I could add more to that. And then you can tell the ghostwriter what you want it to do. So I'm going to say newsletter with articles, preference, best match. More recent is helpful if you want to send something out about like a current event. So it could be some sporting event, or that's happening in your town, or a road race or something like that, where you really want it to focus down on like right now, so you get current data. Sometimes if you're doing something like this one, you want just the best content, best match out there. And then same as before, you could do authenticity, or pick whatever tone you want, language, additional context. Context here, and you'll see I've got my personal bio. That can be helpful. I can give you a quick demo of that, but think of if you give it extra information, that extra information is woven into what it writes for you. Drip campaigns. So how many drips do we want? So I'm going to say 5, and I'm going to wait a fixed amount of time, and I'm going to say wait, why don't we say a month? So 5 months worth of drips going out for this. Then I'm going to say start writing. So now what it's doing is creating those 5 different unique newsletters for me. It's finding all the articles. I'm going to hit create. It's going to get images. It's going to generate a summary, and it's going to create all the content for me. So now I just created a multi-step drip campaign on the fly. All I got to do is hook it up. So you can see here, there's a bunch of them. It's still filling in the preview there. There it goes. You can see all these were just created on the fly for me, all with their own unique content. Really handy. This kind of stuff just saves a ton of time. So you have that also for yourself that will, really help get you going with some of the marketing features. All right, a couple more things here as I wrap up. I want to go through some slides, but one thing to point out here, if you are in a multilingual market, and that can be international or domestic, we have the ability to translate content, which can save you a lot of time, and the ability to have a single template contain multiple languages. The way we do that is our AI understands what language you're speaking. So if you're speaking French back and forth with somebody, Cloze will note that and mark that recipient as French speaking, so that if you have a template that is multilingual, it will automatically send the template in the right language. You have to set up the template to have both languages, but once that's set up, it will pick the right one. So you can send one email to many people, and it will automatically put the right language in front of the right person. To get you started, we have the ability to translate. So I could say, let me say French Canadian here. And what it will do is update this, and you can see now along the left, you see English and then French Canadian. As I scroll down, it'll give you the ones that are in English versus French. And so you can start to see them in the French section. When I preview, I'm going to get English or French. So if I click the French version, I can see French version. And I can see it in mobile or desktop as well. So that's very helpful. And when I push send on this to a bunch of people, it will properly put the French one and French speaking person and the English in front of the English speaking. This can be very helpful if you're in the United States or outside the United States. Just depends on where you operate and who you market to. So quick little one there that may or may not be helpful to you, but just a good example of one of the things we can do with our email tool. Okay, I want to switch over and go through some final slides here in the last 8 minutes. If you have questions, feel free to ask our team over on YouTube or eXp World. So working as a team, one of the things that we stress here at the beginning is getting you set up individually, but you can set up a team on Cloze. And so we will have some classes on that. The key thing to know here is that you set up individually, and when you do set up a team, you can share a variety of things. You can share contacts, you can share deals you're working on, you can even share your communications. So in this example, we have a lead, and multiple people can be working on that lead and share their communications. So who talked last? This can be very helpful if we're trying to not step on each other's toes. And so imagine you're both following up, and you got, you just want to make sure the client is being served well. You don't want to be both reaching out at the same time. So it saves that kind of dance of slacking each other or texting saying, hey, did you talk to the lead? You talk to this person about, you can just see it. Now, this obviously comes with some level of comfort on sharing this kind of activity. So same thing applies as what I said earlier. You can ease into this. You don't have to share everything. You can decide. But the key thing to know is this would be very specific to the business contacts you've chosen to share. Okay, lots of privacy controls built in. We even have a middle ground that allows you to just share that a text message occurred. So the other people on the team know you followed up, but they can't read your text message. So that's a good middle ground to start with. But what you can see here is that shared timeline view. We have an AI summary at the top that can be very helpful just to catch up. It will summarize the whole timeline and the most recent part of the timeline and tell you what's happening. And then another point here is that even if your colleague that's working with you on this lead isn't in Cloze all the time, as long as they have their email connected, their phone connected, the timeline will update with their activities. So even if they're working outside. That's really important to understand, is that Cloze will continuously keep up to date with information, based on the tools you've connected. So you don't have to be dialing from InClose or emailing from within Cloze to get things logged. It's just logging all that activity for you automatically. But again, lots of privacy controls here. So as we get into that, we'll show you how to set that up. If you have multiple people working the same list, we have ways to avoid conflict there. We'll give you a little indicator. You can see the initials are there, so you know who's talking to who, so you don't collide. Very handy. We also have the ability to set up shifts. So if you work as a team and you have time where you're on duty and you want to assign leads only to the agents that are on duty, this feature is very helpful because they can come in, they can say, okay, I'll be on duty till 6 p.m. And you just say that, and then the leads route appropriately, and then it'll automatically shut off at 6 p.m. and the leads will route to somebody else, or you'll have campaigns that handle it after hours. So that's right down there. Lots of analytics to help teams understand who's doing what in terms of calls and texts and emails, messages, that kind of thing. So you'll see a leaderboard there that you can set up for your team. You can configure what's included on that. Now, when it comes to leads in teams, that tends to be a big part of the business. One of the things I mentioned earlier is that our inboxes are tough because all these lead sources that we get go in there, and then it's hard to get them into the CRM. As you get set up with Cloze, you can set up what we call lead captures. And what this will do is extract the lead information out of those emails. You could do it self-service. There's the tool that you'd use inside of Cloze, or our team can help you set this up. A lot of it's automated, so it'll just take the sample email and it will grab first, last email, all the stuff you typically want. But if you need assistance, our team is there to help. It will pull this information out, and then you can trigger campaigns and lead routing. So you can trigger round robin, workload based, jump balls, all the typical stuff you'd expect. You can even add rules for zip codes and things like that. You can get quite, you can get some lead programs that can be complex or detailed, but it's really up to you and how you want to set those up. But the basic ones of assignment and all that are very easy, and we're happy to help you. Some lead teams have very specific programs they follow, and that's great. You can do all kinds of things with our lead routing and our follow-up campaigns. Now, when it comes to connecting to your website, this is a question we've been getting. We have direct integrations that you can take advantage of to connect to Cloze, and you can connect those right away and take advantage of it. And we're always adding more. But in all cases, what typically happens in a lot is that you get an email alert and you need to get that in to your CRM. So based on what I just showed you, it doesn't matter what website provider you use, we can get those leads in and we can route them appropriately. If you have one of the direct integrations, then things like browsing activity that the clients might be doing, that'll also flow into Cloze. But in all cases, you can continue to use all the tools the website provider includes. So if there's safe search, or if there's market reports or things like that, use those tools. You should continue to do that. Cloze is the source of truth for all the relationship information. Okay. Now, another common question here is what's included. So if you've been on our websites, the Cloze Business Platinum plan is included here. All the team functionality I just mentioned, that's fully included. Lead management that I just talked about, that's all included. The multilingual marketing, ability to translate, house multiple languages in a single template, all of that's included. The Canva enterprise integration is included, so you'll be able to take advantage of that soon. And then we've got hundreds of other integrations you can also connect to Cloze. Speaking of integrations, all the core ones are here. So Canva, I gave you a demo of, but SkySlope, Slack, Dotloop, all options for you. Zenless, so EXP Access, definitely encourage you to use that one. Really powerful co-browsing capability, but things like what they favorite, messages they send through Zenlist, all of that will come into Cloze, and you'll see in the timeline, so you can really react very quickly. Dial Safe is brought in, and then of course your listings that will be important to the Canva integration. Lots of integrations here for you to take advantage of. This is just a sampling. If you go to our website, we have a full database there you can search, but reach out. If you don't see something, reach out. Chances are we're working on it. We always have half a dozen different ones in process at a time. Now, one big thing here, if you're migrating from another CRM or you've got a spreadsheet, my message here to you is send it to us so that we can help you get it into Cloze. When you get in, you're going to see a section on the agenda called Getting Started. One of the first things there is to import your contacts. Cloze will automatically handle pulling in contacts from your Google account or your Microsoft 365 account. Optionally, you can import your phone contacts, and also optionally, you can import a file. When you import a file, you're going to see a couple of options. Let us do it for you. That's my recommendation. Or you do it yourself, but I highly recommend having us do it for you so you don't have to worry about it. All right, I know it's 1 o'clock. The official sign up began on July 1st. So hopefully many of you have got a chance to start signing up. But if you got questions, reach out to us. We're more than happy to help. Get an export out of your old CRM, send that to us, and we'll make it easy for you to switch over. All right. Are there any questions out there? Happy to spend a couple extra minutes if we need to. Okay, so one quick question came in about files being added to contacts. So what I was showing before was with Gina here is you don't upload files to Cloze. We automatically link to the places the files already exist. So most people use Dropbox or Google Drive or OneDrive, kind of standard places that you store files. Cloze will automatically link the contact to the file for you. So keep using Google, keep using Dropbox, keep using OneDrive, and we'll automatically link. My recommendation is create a folder name that matches the person's name in any of those services, and anything you put it in their folder will automatically link. Makes it really, really easy. Okay. All right. I think that was our last question. Appreciate everybody taking an hour out of their day. Our next class, same time on Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern.